Hello and welcome to my channel. Well, this is just a general update. A lot of it's going to have to do with cats, but one of the reasons why I didn't publish very many videos, or haven't been doing very many videos recently, is I was taking care of Shadow, and I don't know, my mind gets focused on one thing, I guess. But he was in pretty bad condition this last time. I mean, it started off kind of innocent, like it usually does, just a puncture. And with his black fur and his skin and everything, it's hard to tell where anything is unless it's obvious. But that infection, it started off with he got into a fight with Stripe Face. I call him Stripey boy and stuff, but he got into a fight with Stripey, and that got infected. And I've never had it smell like rotting flesh and stuff before. I've never had that. He's had some bad infections. I mean, the one before that, it was in his shoulder. Same thing from fighting with Stripe Face. And he got that infection to go into his neck, around his whole throat. I mean, his whole neck was puffed up, and like, God. And then he eventually, I don't know, he recovered from that, but that never smelled bad. That never, smelled bad. But this last one, it started smelling bad, and it was growing, like it started small. I guess like the bite would be like maybe, a tooth bite starting out that small. And then as it got infected, the area around it started getting bigger, and then it got as big as like inside of the circle. And then it got to get worse and worse, and it just started spreading. It got to less than the size of this patch, but yeah, it was around 2 inches or so in diameter. And he would go out and come in, and I'd take care of it as much as I could. And yeah, I got bit and cut a few times from him trying to do that, but eventually I just got to where I would immobilize him. He knew I was trying to take care of him, but I mean, he'd still try to bite me. I don't know why he's so good at biting me and not biting Stripe Face, because whenever he fights Stripey, later on I check Stripey, and Stripey doesn't. He don't have any wounds, I mean, he don't have anything to show for it. Maybe a nick or something, but I've never had to doctor Stripe Face like I had Shadow. But anyways, I didn't know if he was going to make it there for a while. And that kind of bummed me out. And, a lot of other stuff was going on too. But he started recovering. And the little baby kittens now, Mama Cat has been depositing them, she's been sitting there waiting by the door or the doormat when I get up early in the morning. And it's usually been her and the 2 kittens, or sometimes just the 2 kittens, and she's off somewhere else. But for the last couple of days, I haven't seen those 2 kittens. It's been the weekend. This is Monday now, but I haven't seen them since Saturday morning, I think is the last time I saw them. And I didn't see them yesterday morning, and I haven't seen them today. And with kittens, they've been sticking together. Usually they'll get separated and stuff, but they've been sticking together. The little black one and the little striped one, a little tabby. But I hope that somebody picked them up and took them, but I don't know. Maybe she's hiding them. Maybe they're still coming out. But anyway, that that's been affecting me a little bit. And then I had a blockage. It's like a writer's block, but it's like this one is a video block, because talking to you on videos like this and stuff it helps me a lot too, because yeah, I don't get out a lot, you know. I mean, I have friends, I have people that I could, you know, go see and stuff. But being on a bike, it's not easy for me to go see someone, so they'd have to drop by, and that doesn't happen very often, which is okay with me. I like, you know, my privacy and stuff like that. I don't mind being alone. Some people, you know, it drives them crazy. I don't mind it. You know, I can handle it. But one of my outlets is be able to do videos and stuff, because to me that's like interaction, you know, it's like communication. Talking to, I know some of you out there are my friends, so, you know, it's just like communicating what's happening, what's going on. And I don't know, usually when I run into a blockage, like if it's a hobby or something like knives, I'll switch to something else like flashlights or radios. But, you know, I've done all those. And I'm not looking for another hobby or anything. It's just that I watched one thing, too, where it said a video. You know, a lot of times you'll get weird stuff in your feed. I watched one of them, and it said boredom is good for you, because that's your mind, you know, trying to tell you to change things up. A lot of good things happen when you get bored, because you do something different. Anyways, it's not that I was bored or anything. It's just that things that I used to find a lot of interest in, you know, like knives, I could always look at knives and talk about a bunch of different knives. All of a sudden, I ran out of things, you know. It's not like I completely ran out of things to say about knives, but for that time being, I wasn't thinking about knives. I was thinking about doctoring cats and stuff. And then, even with radios, what happened was I was looking at, it's usually because of, I'm sorry my mind's jumping around like this, but it's usually because of financial situations. That's usually what gets you to prioritize things, where you start saying, all right, I don't need a bunch of this and this and this. You know, like if before you looked at something and you said, ooh, they just came out with a new one of these, you know, and I have a bunch of different ones. I actually like this series, the Appaloosa. We'll try to include some knives talk with it. And I like this design, kind of a spear pointish, kind of a drop pointish. This is more of a drop point. But to me, they should have just made it a spear point, since they've already, I mean, this is really it's not really a clip. Look at that. I mean, it's kind of a hybrid. But anyway, I like when I go like this, my little finger falls in here. But anyways, usually there's always something I can say about knives, or do about knives, or go out and do something crazy. And another thing that had happened was they wanted to do another inspection, room inspection or apartment inspection. You know, everything had to be available, and I was like, oh, that messes me up so much, you know, because I've lived in this apartment for like, I don't know, 13 years. So it's not like a regular apartment where people just come and go. And these are usually like yearly leases around here, but they used to have them as low as like 3 months or monthly lease if you wanted to do it, but it's really high rent that way. But usually it's like once a year. They don't always do it. So supposedly it's twice a year they're supposed to do it. But it's usually when management comes in and tries to make sure the place is still all right, and do an inventory and see if anything's messed up. They finally fixed the light in my bathroom. They finally got that fixed. It was a wall switch. I knew it wasn't. I was going to try to replace it, but I was like, man, I'll just live without a light in here. It gives me training and experience with dealing with power outage, you know. Have one room that doesn't have electricity, and you deal with it. The bathroom, you don't need a lot of electricity in there anyways, other than lights. And so I was using that as an experiment. But anyways, getting back to the cats and stuff. Stripeface usually will stick around, but he knows. He'll be sitting out there by the pool or the picnic table or something. They know when I open the door. He knows when I step out on the balcony. He sees me a lot of times and run up. He's always hungry, Meow. Like, oh my God. So I try not to, encourage him too much. Now he's got to where he'll come up and he'll scratch at the door. I mean, it's better than meowing, because meowing everybody can hear. A scratch only you can usually hear, something scratching at your door. Not that people up here mind. Everybody upstairs has got cats or is cat friendly. But I just had a hard time making a video. I started thinking about something, and I had a mental block. It's like a writer's block or an artist's block. And I knew I needed to do that giveaway too. It was just like, I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do a video. And internally my mind kept arguing with me. You need to do this. You need to do that. And I was arguing with myself mentally. I mean, I don't want to make light of mental illness and stuff. And I know a lot of people have much more difficult times with mental illness and much more difficult time with physical ailments, so that's why I don't try to make a big deal out of mine. But I mean, when it affects you, it affects you, and it doesn't matter what other people have, I mean, for me, overcoming that block was like, it's mental anguish, like I wanted to do it, I needed to do it, but then again, the rebellion inside my head was just like, no, I'm going to do it on my own terms. I'm going to do it when I'm ready. Y'all shut up, and geez, how do you win? How do you win when you're having an argument with yourself and your mind? Well, eventually you're going to win, because it's all been done in your head, and you kind of like, I know this anyway, Eventually that, I finally got over it, and I did the video, And now this is just a follow-up video just to let you know about the cat situation, and basically what's going on. The weather's changing. We've been having above normal temperatures. We've been having no rain when normally this is the second wettest month of the year. So, I mean, a lot's been going on. It's been really hot during the late afternoon, and if I try to walk, either Shadow's in here or he's outside. Stripeface is always watching for me. If I'm walking, he'll, how cats follow you when they walk. I mean, sometimes he's good about it. We'll hear fall behind, but a lot of times he'll try to just dive right between my legs. And I'm getting older, I mean, no matter what you do, you got to watch out, because your bone density goes down, and man, that's all it takes is one good fall to knock you out, take you out of action for months or longer. So I got to be careful about that. But I'm not going to be a total hermit crab or anything like that, So I'm going to get out. I'm going to do things no matter what. So that's all I'm trying to say here is basically I'm okay. I'm never always 100% okay, but I mean, who is? And I'll manage. I'll get through whatever's happening. Just sometimes the stress and anxiety and the things I'd like to talk about, I don't want to talk about because everybody's talking about it, and I don't want to make it. I don't want to make my channel a political channel, but a lot of times world events, do affect my life and my hobby. But I don't want it to intrude in here, if at all possible. I'd rather just to be things I enjoy doing, and I'll interject with this one. I'll just put a video, maybe up in the corner also of my rides. Because I like to put a video camera up on like the body cam. I like to put that one up on the bicycle, or I haven't ridden a scooter in a long time, But when I ride the bike, I like to have it because, um, I don't know, sometimes you see interesting things on it, and it also serves as like a dash cam in case you get into an accident or somebody pulls out in front of you. I don't know. I've been lucky. I've been fortunate so far. People have seen me, but I try to be seen. I'm not trying to be stealth driving out there. I want to be seen. I have flashing lights on the back, and I wear that vest. And if it's dark, which I don't do very often, but I'll have lights on too. Because if you ride like a motorcycle, you're 26 times more likely to have a fatal encounter. So it's the same way, like if you're a pedestrian or something, if you get involved with another vehicle, you, it's usually the vehicle's going to win. You're not. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to give you a little heads up and update. That's what's been going on with me. That it's not always. I mean, it's sometimes it's physical, sometimes it's mental, sometimes it's both. But a lot of times when I'm not doing videos, it's not because I'm mad or upset about anything. It's just it's difficult for me to make a video sometimes. Usually it's not. I mean, if you look at how long I've had my channel and the number of videos I put out, I mean, I guess it averages to more than a video a day continuously. But there are times when I need to just stop and take a break, and reset. And that's kind of what's been going on. But anyways, I'm coming out of that, and I'll get back into stuff. But really, breaking down boxes and everything, I found that I went back to this. I used this guy right here a lot because it's got a lot of length to it. It's locking. I did the burn bone stuff on that. Let's see what this number is here. MR474. But, and when you break down boxes a lot of times, you're just doing tape. But this worked pretty well against cardboard also. But what really worked very nicely was, I don't have it here with me, but it's the Cold Steel Kudu. Not the Kudu Light, but the one with the ring on it. I don't know where it's hiding right now, and I'm not going to go find it. But that's good for cutting tape, and because the blade is so thin, it doesn't come up. This one is good, but it comes up to a more of a saber, type of thickness. There's a lot of stock there, but that other one is just a really thin blade and works very well for cardboard if you have to actually break it down. But yeah, that's what I did. I did that. I survived the inspection and everything's okay. My light's working, and there were no cats in here at the time, which was fortunate, because that was another big fear of mine. Was like, oh, what if they come in and inspect and a cat's in here? And this was a thorough inspection this time. I mean, they went all over. They didn't go out on the balcony, but I mean, they sat in here for a while. They even was talking to me, about all the knives I had. Like, oh, you got a lot of knives. And I said, yeah, you know how it goes. Start collecting something, and you start getting into it. And then they started noticing that, it's cluttered in here. There's a lot of stuff. And they were talking about maybe I should get a larger apartment. Well, gee, if you give me more money, sure, yeah, I'd have a larger apartment. But the reason why I've got all this stuff here is because this is everything. What you see is my entire possessions. I can't afford a storage thing. That's what she was talking about. Like, it was some, one of the owners or something. Maybe you could get a storage thing, but then you'd have to worry about somebody breaking in and stealing all that. It's like, yeah, it'd be nice to have a house again, but I don't. I live in an apartment, smallest one you've got. Yeah, that's me. That's the way it goes. That's life. Anyway, but yeah, I managed to get through all that, but that's stressful. All that's stressful. Cat, the inspections, the blockage of not doing all that was just adding up on me, just like, I don't know. I got over it. I did the video, so there you go. I've rambled on too long. Just a little heads up there, what's happening. I'm still here. I'm sticking around, and I'll get back to doing things. So, thank you for watching, and have a nice day. What's the matter, Stripey, huh? Turn this off. Right here.